Hello from the National Weather Service, Chicago. I want to take the next few minutes to talk to you about some proposed changes to our winter storm warning and advisory criteria for the National Weather Service Chicago's forecast area. First of all, the advisory criteria now across the Chicago area, northern Illinois, northwest Indiana, into central Illinois, as well as much of the north-central part of the United States, is 3 to 5 inches of snow, while the warning criteria is for 6 inches of snow in 12 hours or 8 inches of snow in 24 hours. Both the advisory and warning criteria do have some leeway given for forecaster discretion. For the instance, the first event of the season might have slightly lower criteria, and events expected to hit particularly hard at rush hour or during a holiday travel time could also be given slightly lower criteria, as well as for instances where multiple frozen precipitation types could have a high impact even though they're all less than a given criteria. The problem with snowstorms is not all 6 inches are created equal. There's several factors that go into the impact of the snow is going to have on the area. These factors include the snowfall intensity or snowfall rates, the pavement temperatures, the time of day, the amount of wind and blowing and drifting and visibility problems that exist. But arguably the biggest factor impacting many of the snowfalls that we have across the area and how severe they are is the snowfall rates. So one of the things we're considering is doing more of an impact-based snow headlines. And by that we basically mean using this chart as a potential guideline. Essentially what we'd be doing is basing warning and advisory criteria on more of a fuzzy logic based on how much snow is going to fall in a certain duration period. For instance, if we were expecting 4.5 inches of snow to fall in 12 hours, that would be something, as you see in the chart, would fall into an advisory. However, if we're expecting 4 inches to fall in 3 hours, that's a much more intense snowfall, and that would be a situation where the forecaster would have the discretion to choose either between issuing an advisory or a warning based on some of the other factors that were listed in the previous slide, as well as collaboration with our neighboring offices and what their product choice is going to be. The impact-based warning issues, the same issues that now we have with multiple waves of snow. The other thing that would be a potential challenge with changing the criteria to using the chart that we shown in the previous slide is that there's likely some users out there who are knowledgeable of and using the specific criteria that we have now, so this would take some adjustment on their part. Also, our internal verification becomes much trickier with the new system if we were to go to it. Some of the advantages of the impact-based warnings include the attempt to kind of base headlines more on impacts and less on rigid criteria. The fuzz factor will allow leeway for forecaster uncertainty. The other factors, such as the holiday, rush hour, first snow of the year, it also makes for easier collaboration with neighboring National Weather Service offices so that there's not a patchwork of different watches and warnings across the region. We can also consider things like pavement temperatures and other situations in borderline scenarios. Before we proceed with making any changes like this for the upcoming winter, what we're really looking for is your feedback. So please take a moment and look at the chart criteria that we've had here and that we're going to post on our Facebook and Twitter sites. And we'd like your feedback. Please provide the feedback to us on our Facebook and on our YouTube page commenting on this video, or on Twitter. We want to know what you think. Would an alteration of our headline criteria for advisories and warnings be a positive thing to what we're showing here, or would you rather us stick with the current criteria? Also, if you would, please forward this on to people you know, the decision makers who use the current system. For instance, road crews, school superintendents who make decisions about school closings, basically anyone who depends on the watch and warning and advisory criteria that we have now. We'd really like to hear their feedback on what their thoughts are on making this criteria a little bit more fuzzy and based more on the snowfall impacts and intensity than on the current system of just a rigid 6 inches for a warning and 3 to 5 inches for an advisory. So thanks for taking a moment to listen to this, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them on our Facebook page.